know this is a question I would have liked to ask earlier. Is there a particular moment, is there a particular event or incident or something that triggered you that you felt like, you know what, I will be a pilot or be a doctor? Because some people, it could be some incident that happened in their family. Is there one that you can remember? Please take us there, because that is the powerful moment that we never want to fail to capture.
Yes. Okay. Growing up in my village, small village, there was no doctor. I never saw a doctor till I was in high school in the city. So we had a nurse practitioner, a nurse, who used to take care of us. And we had malaria, we had the diarrhea disease, the common diseases you have, right? He's late now, but it's interesting. So I used to watch him, how he took care of us, even when we didn't have money. When we were growing up, after a while, my dad came to the US to go to school and left 8 children with my mom, who is a teacher. So you can imagine we grew up poor, very poor. So sometimes we go to see him and my mom didn't have the money, but he would treat us anyway. And then my mom, when she gets paid, will pay gradually. Not just us, we see other village people who will bring maybe a fowl or yam or whatever they had, and he would take it.
Today, you're in for a treat. If you have a child who is interested in becoming a medical doctor or physician, you have to pull your chair closer and listen to an expert, listen to someone who has done it all, not only in America, but has gone back home to the motherland over and over and over to serve, to encourage, to motivate, to mentor others, to serve or to work as physicians. We're so fortunate today. We have in the Story Warrior studio, Dr. Cliff Eke, joining us all the way from California. He's had a very long weekend and still is not tired. He still agreed to sit and have this conversation with us. Very, very good evening, Doctor. How are you today?
Good. How are you? Dr. Gideon for Mukwa, thank you.
Yes, it's absolutely a pleasure. A dream come true, because it's not every time you meet someone who is very accomplished, who is approachable and down to earth. That's the impression I had when I met you at the Association of Pharmacists down in San Antonio. I walked up to you and we shook hands. You're very kind. And I know you're super busy and you have agreed to spend some time with us, especially because this is summer. There are young people that are out there, maybe doing some useful things. Some that are doubting, what am I going to do when I grow up? Some of them have an interest in a career like medicine, something and a field in which you've practiced for so long. And they're wondering, am I up to it? Can I do this? Am I able to do this? You came all the way from home, from Nigeria, and you went to medical school in America, which is super competitive, very challenging. Tell us, is this still a possibility, or is this something that it can no longer be done by young people that are dreaming from across the pond?
Very possible. First of all, let me thank you at the Story Warrior Show for what you're doing for our community and for the world, and telling our story, which is so important. So we can say it, we can tell it correctly. Otherwise, somebody will tell his story and make it our story. Okay.
Thank you.
So,
Thank you.
yes, pleasure to be with you. And yes, of course, it's possible. You know, as children, we are told to dream big. And mine is a typical wonderful story, because growing up back home in Owerri, Imo State, Nigeria, little village, at the age of 5 or 6, you know, your parents ask you, what are you going to be when you grow up?
Yes.
So the same question was posed to me by my parents, and I told them I want to be a pilot, because I used to see all these planes flying over my village very high.
Yes.
Or I want to be a doctor.
Wow.
And my dad, who is so rest in peace, is a minister, told me, "Oh, you should be a missionary doctor."
Wow.
So
Okay.
I didn't know what that meant, because I never met a missionary doctor. I had met missionaries that came to our church and ministered and you know, do their missionary work, but it's stuck in my brain. And so I went through elementary school and went to secondary school, Government College Owerri. And at the age of 17, I came to the US to start a bachelor's degree as a pre-med. And all along the way, a lot of miracles we can get into, but you know, I studied hard. I worked hard, I prepared myself, and by God's grace and blessing and meeting the right people along the way, here I am, was able to go to medical school and then did residency in surgery, general thoracic surgery, and been practicing for over 27 years in Southern California.
Wow, that is
So it is possible. It is possible. The children can do it, and they can do it better now because They have all the technologies, and they have role models like us to help them.
Yes.
When I came through, there were not that many role models.
Thank you so much for saying that. So that's something I noted, that the power of a daddy who was able to look into your eye and believe that it was possible, that if you work hard, you could do it. Now, that is very powerful. And for all daddies out there, all who are parents, you listen to what your children are saying and guide them along the way, because that is a true testament to the ideas or the seeds that your dad sowed into you, and you nurture that and you work on it. But the power of hard work, it came through. Now you have been practicing for so many years, and you're balancing both your time as a professor and time in surgery, as well as going on medical missions. So in fact, it looks like your dad's dream has come full circle. Don't you think so?
Obviously, yes. My mom also, who's a very prayerful mom and actually still alive. Yes. So the parents are very important to shape the children's lives.
Yes.
For the better.
Thank you. And this year you were back home for a special conference, but it wasn't just about a conference. I believe it was about service. It's almost like the yearly missions that go to Nigeria and other parts of Africa to work. And that's more like missionary work, but not just ordinary missionaries, but medical missionaries. So maybe you want to talk about that, because that's something that AMPA, the Association of Nigerian Physicians in Americas, have taken great interest in doing, and it's been going on since 2004. Can you talk about the lives that have been touched through that process, and maybe how you've contributed to that?
Okay. So yes, being blessed along the way, like I mentioned earlier, my goal was also to be blessing to others. So ever since I finished my training, I've been going back to Nigeria, Mexico, Guatemala, Honduras with different groups, even Belize, to do medical and surgical care free of charge. And during this process now, I became a member of the Association of Nigerian Physicians in the Americas, AMPA. And this is the largest diaspora healthcare organization of Nigerian heritage in the world, serving the interests of almost 8,000 physicians, dentists, allied health professionals. And during this process now, I became involved and became the chair of their medical mission for several years, and then rose up to become an executive officer, treasurer, president-elect, and currently I'm the president since last June. Of AMPA. And so every year, thank you, every year AMPA goes to give back. And by the way, AMPA is 30 years this year. That's why I'm wearing this shirt, as you can see.
Yeah. Okay. Anyone who did not notice that, AMPA stands for Association of Nigerian Physicians in Americas, and you're wearing the T-shirt because of the 30th anniversary. We're coming to that very shortly, but
we'll come to that, sure.
Talk to us about the people that you've touched, because you've not only gone to Nigeria, the homeland, you've gone to Guatemala, gone to Belize, you've gone to other places. Talk to us, because everywhere in the world, doctors are revered because of the challenging conditions in which you're trained and the kind of conditions in which you work. Even when people are running away, you're probably running in to go save lives. Talk to us about that commitment coming deep from your heart, or maybe from the missionary work that your parents were doing, and extending to other countries, other borders beyond country of origin. What does that mean to you?
It's actually priceless. With all my travels and services, I've noticed one thing that's common among us humans. People want to be respected and want to be treated with kindness.
Yes.
Everywhere. It crosses even language barrier. Like some of these places I mentioned, Mexico or Honduras or Guatemala, I don't speak much Spanish. I speak Spanglish is what I try, you know.
That's a mixture of English and Spanish. Spanglish.
Spanish and English combined. Okay. Yes, it's interesting, but we have interpreters, obviously, you know, that help us, right? But when you interact with these people, even talking to them, examining them, showing them compassion, besides the medical knowledge or the surgeries you do, gives them such uplift. They are so happy. They thank God, you know, give him the praises. And the reward for me, I tend to get more blessing from doing this voluntary work than I think I'm giving. And we get blessed in several ways that you're not aware of. Okay. But over the years, boy, we've touched the lives of over 50,000 people. We've done surgeries in over 25,000 people free. And not just surgeries and things like that, we do training, which we'll get to when we go to the what we just did in Lagos for AMPA at 30, where we do capacity building. So we don't just come, we want to train the local, we work with local colleagues and learn from them too. They can be very how do I say, resourceful, because they don't have too many,
Tools.
there are too many things like we have in the US, right?
Yes.
So they have to be resourceful in a resource poor country. So I learned from them, and then we teach them too, so that when we're gone, they can continue. And actually, my ultimate goal, and I tell everybody this, is a day when there is no more medical missions or surgical missions. But that can only happen when the country's health system are strong enough to handle most of it. So those missions become rare occurrences.
Yes.
Interestingly, I do mission work here in the US too.
Okay. Is that possible?
Yes. It's rare here, but I do at least every quarter. I go to places called federal qualified health centers, which are places that take care of the underinsured or uninsured. We have a lot of immigrants, especially here in Southern California, when they get sick, or even to help them, teach them about health education and prevent the sickness. So every so often, I take time and go to these centers and do minor surgeries and medical care, even in the US. So it's not going to go away 100%, but at least here in the US,
it's limited.
It's maybe 10% or less, as opposed to some countries where they look forward to us coming every year because that's their only access to medical care.
Yes, that is it's a serious imbalance. But you, as president of a very powerful organization with more than 8,000 professionals, in fact, I was Googling around, it only gave me about 4,000, and it's a lot bigger than 4,000.
We need to grow. It's actually more than 10,000. We are hoping to get there. That's the goal, but go ahead.
Yes. So it's a powerful organization, and I know that you're building bridges, training. What are some of the specific programs that you have conceived during your term, or you are conceiving in the ongoing, to make sure that we close the gap, or you close the gap between the developing and the developed world? Because most of your members are in Canada and US and maybe some of the Caribbean countries.
So several programs we have, and I'll name them quickly. More details can be on our website, www.ampa.org. But things we do, helping babies survive, is basically CPR for newborns. In Nigeria, infant mortality is very high. And so we have that training where we train healthcare workers and birth attendants. When the baby is born, the things to do to make sure they survive. We also do obstetric emergencies. For example, postpartum hemorrhage, bleeding after having a baby, is one of the leading causes of death. So again, we teach the people to be able to anticipate it, notice it, and attend accordingly, save the mother's life. Something else we do, what we call Stop the Bleed program, which we adapted from the American College of Surgeons. So after a trauma, instead of people using their cell phone and recording what's going on, we encourage people and train people to go there and hold pressure or pack the wound or use tourniquet, temporize and stop the bleed, and call for help until help comes and takes that person to the hospital. Other programs we have, in fact, we launched some new ones with Nigeria in Lagos recently. Chronic kidney disease is very rampant among us. Young people get it. So we're teaching awareness, and we had a workshop about that. Another exciting one is what we call menstruation education. We collaborated with a group called the African Menstruation Initiative, group funded by young Nigerian, our children here, pre-med students that went to Harvard. And they approached me last year, said they have this organization, they want to go back and teach our young girls about their reproductive system, about their cycle. More importantly, teach them how to make usable sanitary pads. And we had this for the first time in Lagos. And then we have other things. In surgery, we teach laparoscopy surgery, we teach endoscopy to fellow physicians, and all this is capacity building. And then one of the most exciting things we've done, and actually we launched, is what we call emergency care tips by AMPA. I don't know if you can see my card.
Yes,
it's on our website, by the way. So
so somebody can download from there.
So now so here you see the steps of a BLS or CPR. So when somebody, we've had some people, famous people even die recently from collapsing. The singer Onyeka Onwenu, as you know, some of our senators. And instead of people doing CPR, they were just taking videos and screaming. So we launched this in last April. Yes, these are the steps to do BLS. These are steps for jogging. More importantly, on the back, you have AMPA logo and a QR code, which someone can scan, and it takes them to the AMPA website. If you don't know the steps, you can see it. And we're partnering with the Drivers Union and the Road Safety in Lagos. We're hoping to expand it and teach people BLS, this life-saving program.
As a former fire captain, I can attest to the power of being able to deliver CPR. Timely CPR can save lives. And interestingly, there's it's an unusual statistic. They say that in Las Vegas, people don't die from heart attacks. The reason is that there are AEDs all
It
over
is
the
everything.
place.
Yeah,
They're
you're
all
right.
over the place. So even the people that are losing a lot of money from gambling, they're not dying from any heart attack because there's an AED right on hand. And I think
Right.
that authorities are put it there so as to avoid any bad news. But in our local communities, especially back home, I can see a situation in which someone might need something so basic and they just to clear the airway. People may not be aware of that unless there's an adult who's a little bit seasoned or has some bit of medical or paramedical training. So that goes a long way in raising capacity. Now, I am so happy about that component. But we know you're still working also as a professor at one of the local universities, and you're managing a huge association, and you're still practicing, and you still do medical mission, and you still have a family. So most people know they have 24 hours in a day. How many hours do you have in a day, Doc? How do you
Well,
manage that?
same 24 hours.
Maybe you need to give us some tips, give some
Well,
tips to resident people because they
yes, you have to be able to balance your time. I'm a full-time, surgeon at Kaiser here, and then I teach residents and students at Loma Linda University School of Medicine.
which
And
is your
then
is that your alma mater?
that's my alma mater, medical school and
Yeah.
residency,
I
correct?
wanted
That's what
us
is
to
my
drop
name.
that in there so that anybody who is not aware of that should know it's your alma mater,
Yes,
which is a huge honor to go back and teach where you were once a medical student.
yes.
Okay. All right.
And then
Continue, Doc.
also, and then voluntary work, philanthropic work, not just with AMPA, but with other nonprofit that, once you like something, you make time for it.
Yeah.
So I've been making time for this, again, through training, you learn through residence, you learn to balance your time and put priorities, for family, time to eat, time to exercise, time to sleep.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's not easy. You have to really, yes,
And you do it
So,
all with a huge
yeah.
smile. You make it look like so normal, but this is all heavy lifting you're doing, Doc. So yes, we definitely salute what you're doing because you make it look easy, but it's not easy at all. Now let's talk a little bit about the fact that you come into the presidency with a certain vision, and some people may not be privy to your vision. You've evolved, you've grown over the years from treasurer to leading medical missions. Now you're president, so you've seen the organization from many, many, many different angles. What's your vision for AMPA, especially now that it's turning 30 going forward?
Yes, and actually, I have a vision outlined. If you go on our website again, there's this message from the president, and you can see this in detail.
Yes.
In fact, in graphic way. Because I've been in AMPA for so many years, I observed the challenges, and I was able to formulate what I thought would be helpful for us to move forward and to be together. I created a slogan for AMPA: better together.
Yes.
Because as Africans, it's hard to be together for 30 years. And in Nigeria, we have different tribes, different personalities. So tendency, there's always disagreement. So I saw that coming, and I've tried to pull everybody together and encourage diversity. And we can be, we have strength in our diversity, actually.
Yes, sir.
So one of the things I introduced besides that is what I call people value and respect. Like I told you, my experience has told me everybody wants to be treated with respect and with dignity.
Yes.
Simple.
Yes.
So I made sure in our organization, everything we do, we have to have that in mind. That's number one priority I've been giving to people. Again, it will improve our membership, which has grown. Actually, that's one of my goals, was to increase our membership. And we've grown by over 800 since I took over.
Wow.
Something else, my goal is to improve our meaningful partnership and relationships, because we can't do these things by ourselves.
Yes.
And when we talk more about Lagos and other programs, you see that we have several partners that work with us, and that is a key. And then prevention focused program. As the adage goes, prevention is better than cure.
Yes.
A lot of the things we're doing, like the programs I mentioned to you, is to teach people so we can prevent some things and also equip them to take care of diseases or problems when they occur.
Yes.
Then a fifth thing is teamwork. Teamwork makes the dream work, right?
Yeah.
And I told everybody, for me, team stands for together, each achieves more.
Oh, okay. Together, each achieves more. All right. For all of you out there taking notes, team is not team. Team is together, each achieves more, which absolutely is very apt. It's very spot on. Yeah. And I love the example you gave about Usain Bolt, which is on your website.
That's right. I gave an example about Usain Bolt and the Jamaican relay team.
Yes, sir.
When he ran with the relay team, their time was actually better than when he ran for 100 meters, set the record at the 100 meter sprint.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Individual time, I think it's about 9.5 something, 9.58 thereabout. But when the full lanyard of all the four run together, it cuts the time down to about 9.21 or 9.31, which is amazing. It's unbelievable. Together, they each was able to accomplish more.
Exactly. And that's why we're better together. Together, each achieves more. Exactly. And then something else that's there in my heart, besides our finances and things, is this AMPA at 30, which we celebrated. And especially going forward, publicity and media, which is why I'm so glad I'm on your show. AMPA does so many good things, more than other professional organizations. I belong to the American College of Surgeons. I've worked with the American Cancer Society. I was a president in California in 2012. And we do a lot of things, but nobody recognizes it because we're not good at, like I told you, telling our story, which is I'm glad you're involved in this business and telling our story. So that's one thing, is publicity and media. And we have, we're doing some things, we're doing it now, and we have something coming up on June 28th, which I will share later, and invite people to join us to celebrate our 30 documentary and a book.
Yes, because 30 is full maturity. 30 is no longer teenage. It's almost teenage times 2. So 30 means the organization is beginning to churn out or work at its optimum best. So what are some of the things that you have observed, say, in the last 5 years that were not there maybe 10, 15 years ago when AMPA was probably still a teenager, so to speak?
Okay, yeah. Now we have actually a cross-section of more younger members. Initially, when AMPA was started, most of the members were Nigerian medical graduates that knew each other and are here. Now we're seeing a trend toward US-trained graduates, people like me, even people much younger than me, that we're reaching out. So there's that shift, and it will continue. I think in the future, most likely there'll be more US-trained physicians, which is fine, but we're trying to get us to go back and help our motherland, right? Then number 2 is technology has been helpful. There's more technology. Thanks to COVID, actually. That's one good thing about COVID. COVID helped us to now think out of the box. Yes, if you can say one good thing, is this technology, you and I talking now, and we can do telemedicine and health. And I'll give you an example what happened in 2020, right?
Yes, Doc.
We're supposed to go to Calabar, Cross River State for medical mission, like we do, our annual AMPA week.
Yes.
COVID hit, we couldn't travel. So we didn't go 2020. 2021, we still couldn't travel because there was no vaccine. Guess what? I told the then president, I suggested to him, hey, how about we do it virtually? Because I had been practicing virtually during COVID. Through Zoom, through WhatsApp, through all the platforms. And initially, we thought, is it possible? We reached out to our partner in Nigeria, CS Don, and they were excited. They said, yeah, let's do it. So we did a hybrid, whereby we took care of patients like this. Even the surgical ones, when they were doing surgery, we were on at 2 a.m. I remember my time, 3 a.m. I'll be up helping direct the surgery while the local people did it, like a virtual medical mission. So that was new. Yes, and we wrote a paper about it.
I like to pick up my vuvuzela
too.
I like to blast on the vuvuzela here. This is the South African thing. Whenever there's something like gives me some chills, I can't resist it, because if you're up at 2 a.m. and guiding and helping someone to get, a shot at life, that is something spectacular. Okay, all right. I don't want to make it too crazy, but that is a big.
I like it. I like them from the World Cup. I remember.
That's right.
Those from the World Cup in South Africa.
Exactly. I bought this from Johannesburg when I was traveling through. I said I got it with me. It's an African symbol, so I carry it with me whenever on this program somebody says something that's really powerful. Like thinking that you could be here 2 a.m. and helping them there is real commitment. It can change the course of someone's life, and it's bridging the gap, it's closing the gap, and that's a true testament of all the years that you spend in training and perfecting your skills so that you can help someone, get a better shot of life. So, okay, I know I interrupted you. Maybe you said another point on that. I don't know.
No, you're just using technology, telemedicine. In fact, one of the states, Edo State in Nigeria, currently, AMPA, with partnership with the former governor, Obaseki, established a hub. He bought, the computers, the internet, and we consult with the patients. We take care of patients remotely from here, at least once a month, through, again, telemedicine, through technology. These were not present in AMPA 5 years ago. These are some of the things. And of course, the things we've done in Lagos recently,
Yes. And this year, you returned from, was it Abuja or was it Lagos? What was the focus of this year? Okay, Lagos. Okay, what was the focus of this year? I know a couple of years back was Abuja. What was the focus of the mission this year? Was it a national conference or was it something else?
No, it's a combination. So normally for AMPA, we go to Nigeria and do our annual AMPA week sometime in the spring, March or April.
Yes.
Then we'll come back here and we'll have our scientific convention somewhere in the US. In 2009, we had a scientific convention in Abuja. And since then, we've not gone back. So when I took over as president, I proposed to the board that why don't we take our convention back to the motherland, fatherland, because we're going to turn 30.
Yeah.
I thought it was a good way to celebrate this milestone. Right.
Yes.
So they said, well, but then how can we go in April and come back again in June? Because we do it in June, July. We separate the two events. I said, no, we combine it. It's going to be a heavy lift. So we did our first week doing the medical, surgical, dental, eye mission and training, like I mentioned earlier. And then after that, we did then the convention, scientific convention at Eco Hotel in Lagos. And it was themed advancing patient care through leadership, research, and strategic innovation. The sub-theme of connecting the healthcare workforce and the diaspora to improve healthcare in Nigeria. And it was a big hit. We had topics from anywhere from head and neck to cardiology to mental health to community building, trainings, and it was very well attended, full house, packed.
About how many? You maybe throw in the number there because some people don't get a sense of how big this could be. About how many attendees?
We had about 500 people. It was a 2-day event, and we made it so cheap. Normally here, when you come to because a CME, continuing medical education, you pay for it.
Yes.
So you pay anywhere up to $400 here in the US. But in Nigeria, we made it so cheap. It was 50,000 naira, which is not even up to $50.
Okay, wow.
So that our colleagues will come and learn with us. Yes. And that's why there was a full house, about 500 people were there. Then at the end, we had a gala celebration of the 30th anniversary at the Eco Hotel. That about 1,000 people attended that, big party.
People sometimes show up more for the party than for the learning. That's brilliant. Very interesting. Doc, I know that Nigeria, of course, is a superpower as far as Africa is concerned. I'm from Cameroon, the part of Cameroon that was once part of Nigeria, but that's a story for another day altogether. But I'm curious to know what kind of coordination are you putting in place with the other sister organizations from other African countries, especially those that are represented in diaspora, so that the lessons, because very often we realize that Nigerian professionals are 2, 3, 4 steps ahead, so that the lessons that you're learning, the other countries will not have to go through and learn all of those difficult lessons. What kind of programs are you putting in place to allow for regional or cross-continental collaborations and sharing of knowledge?
Very good question. Actually, we do that. Our sister organizations include MANSAG. MANSAG is a medical association of Nigerians across Great Britain. Then we have CAMPAD, Canadian Association of Nigerian Physicians and Dentists. Then we have NMA Germany, Nigerian Medical Association Germany. We also have the medical group in South Africa, actually, and several Australia. In fact, we have a WhatsApp group called the Presidents of the Diaspora Health Professional, where we collaborate and talk. So even in our program, in our convention in Lagos, I invited all of them, and most of them came. There's more. I was in Canada last year for their own, and also in Britain for their own in Manchester last year. This year too, they have Germany. We have a meeting in Mainz, Germany in September, I believe, and I plan to be there. So I go. So when we go there, then we try and talk on commonalities.
Yes.
There's something we're planning to do because we were in Nigeria with our convention. It was such a big hit. People loved it so much that the director of NIDCOM is Nigeria in Diaspora Commission, Honorable Abike Dabiri-Erewa, is encouraging us to come more. And in fact, next year, during the Diaspora Day in Nigeria, he's hoping that all the Diaspora Health Organization, can come like AMPA did and do something in Abuja. So we're in the works of that. And besides that, each of us also learn from each other of the things we do. Even AMPA, going back, the other organizations also go to different parts of the country and do the same training, capacity building, and service.
Oh, that I can see that is like the worldwide footprint is definitely significant. Are you seeing any resonance or interest from neighboring countries, especially their own professional associations in diaspora, reaching out to learn from you? Because I'm not sure, based on some research I did, I don't think the other countries have as many professionals in the medical field as fellow Nigerian in the medical field. other countries that are showing interest to learn from you or work with you, collaborate with you, either for medical missions or just for the purpose of learning and dissemination of best practices from the diaspora?
Yeah, African countries, actually Ghanaians, the Ghanaian Association, like AMPA here in this country, their president reached out to me last year, and we shared some ideas, and we're hoping to collaborate further in the future. That's the only one that's reached out. Interesting you bring that up. For Lagos, the North American Taiwanese Medical Association, NATMA, is a group I go with to Belize, Honduras, Guatemala. I volunteer for them. So this time, 17 of them volunteered for AMPA and came to Lagos.
Lagos. There you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
So we do have international collaboration, and yes, but African countries, only Ghana has reached out. And of course, part of the collaborators in Nigeria is also the Nigerian Medical Association locally, who was part of our convention, along with other organizations, the Ophthalmic Society of Nigeria, of course, the hospitals, Lagos University Teaching Hospital, Federal Medical Center, Ebute Meta, the Rotary International is also a partner of ours, and the list goes on. So again, that's one of my goals, as I said earlier, is meaningful partnership. So we have lots of partners across the globe to make this work.
Very interesting. Okay, and I lived in Singapore for quite some time, and I met Nigerian medical doctors there who had studied there, working there, lived there quite some time. I still have connections with some of them, but it's been a while. Now, when it comes to mentorships, Doc, are there any specific programs to keep the pipeline filled, to keep the pipeline, well-oiled, so that, tomorrow, as you evolve into the later years, still a long way ahead, there are new guys that are coming on board, and they're also taking interest in the activities of the association, and they're comfortable going back to the motherland, not just working in diaspora, because the mistake we could make is, after all these accomplishments at 30, we get to 40 and everybody settled down. Nobody wants to go and, take a look and see what's happening in the motherland.
Very good point. And interestingly, it's like you read all my goals. One of them was education and mentorship. It's on the website too. And yes, AMPA has what we call DNPT, stands for Distinguished Nigerian Physicians of Tomorrow. These are our Nigerian
rising stars.
Yes, students that are coming up.
Yeah.
And then when they finish, they will join AMPA Resident Forum, which is, in AMPA, the membership committee, there's a residence branch. In fact, you asked, yes, this past weekend, part of the program we had for mentorship is a boot camp for the new residents, because residency starts in July. That's a cycle. The new resident, starts. So all the people that are going to start their residency, we give them tips, survival tips, how to be on time, how to be courteous, how to be prepared, things like that we take for granted, It was on Saturday and Sunday, just 2 days ago. And we plan to do is a five-part series. We plan to do more before they go to their programs and start. Now, more importantly to me, though, is I'm trying to go down to middle school.
Wow.
So I formed a mentorship task force.
Middle school. That is unbelievable.
Formed a mentorship task force. And my goal is to now teach them about STEM, science, technology, engineering, mathematics. But beyond that, about life in general. We don't always have to be all STEM.
Yes.
If somebody wants to be non-STEM, that's okay. But to know that they can do whatever they want to do. And so we're going to, so that, there are very few of us in this profession, or professionals in general.
Absolutely.
But if they can see those of us, hear your story, hear my story, how we've come along, hopefully they'll be inspired to go into profession and not just all be athletes, which is nothing wrong with athletes. I played soccer,
Exactly.
Exactly. But, you have to have knowledge along with the athleticism, in case when you're done with the athleticism, you can always fall back on something. So that is a challenge for me now. Before I leave, my term is 2-year term. So by June next year, I'll be handing over to someone else in Chicago. That's where our next convention is.
Yes.
My goal is to get that going so that we have middle school, high school students that we can be mentoring, and then channel them in our local chapters, because we have chapters. We have 25 chapters now and growing. My goal is to have 30 by the end of the year, 30 at 30.
Wow.
So then if somebody is in Florida, we have 2 chapters there. We can link them there.
Yeah.
And then we can meet like this on Zoom or any kind of platform to have a general education while the practical is going on in their local area. So that's so important, yes.
Yeah, that is a powerful pipeline. That I'm glad that we asked that question, because not many would say they can go as far down as to middle school. But that's really the pipeline. I'm sure it was around middle school that you discovered, or maybe high school that you discovered your interests. And
right.
if it wasn't nurtured, you would have lost the dream. And that means all of us, the whole country, the whole continent would have lost. And so, Doug, I know this is a question I would have liked to ask earlier. Is there a particular moment, is there a particular event or incident or something that triggered you that you felt like, you know what, I now be a pilot or be a doctor? Because some people, it could be some incident that happened in the family. Is there one that you can remember? Please take us there, because that is the powerful moment that we never want to fail to capture.
Yes. Okay. Growing up in my village, small village, there was no doctor. I never saw a doctor till I was in high school in the city. So we had a nurse practitioner, a nurse, who used to take care of us. And we had malaria, we had the diarrhea disease, the common diseases you have, right? He's late now, but he's interested. So I used to watch him, how he took care of us, even when we didn't have money. When we were growing up, after a while, my dad came to the US to go to school and left 8 children with my mom, who is a teacher. So you can imagine we grew up poor, very poor. So sometimes we go to see him, and my mom didn't have the money, but he would treat us anyway. And then my mom, when she gets paid, will pay gradually. Not just us, we see other village people who will bring maybe a fowl or yam or whatever they had, and he would take it. So I observed him from a distance. I was very quiet and observed the way he was respected in the village. Everybody appreciated him. I said, you know what? I want to be like this guy. He didn't know. There was no mentorship. There was no communication. As a child back home, you're seen, but you don't speak.
Don't speak. That's
okay. So, interesting. Fast forward. I come to the US, I finish med school, and I'm going back and I'm doing this mission. I started in my village first, doing medical mission before I got big with AMPA and other organizations to be able to do surgery. In my village, there was no hospital. So I said, okay, eventually I want to build a hospital there. That's the ultimate goal. But meanwhile, I go there and I give primary care in my church or in the elementary school. And I'll call him. He became my colleague. So him and I would serve. And then after about 5 years or so of doing that, I came back one time and I went to him. Usually when I come back, I go and see him. I say, okay, I bring some drugs from here. There's some drugs I can't bring from here. Malaria medications and other things, or liquid. It's too much, it's too heavy. So we make a budget, say, okay, this is how much we need. And I give him the money to go buy it because he had his own pharmacy. So I called that day. I'm trying to tell him about the plan for next week, and he's laying in bed. And I asked his wife, why is he in bed? He's not coming out to see me. Oh, he had appendectomy. He had his appendix removed last month, and that since then he hasn't been the same, and the appendix had burst also. He did surgery, but he's still very weak. So I said, okay, can I go see him in the bedroom? They said yes. So I walked into his bedroom. He's laying right there. He saw me, he smiled, but he couldn't really speak much. So I talked to him. He told me what happened. I said, okay, can I see your scar? He said yes. So I examined him and I felt a lump, felt a mass. So based on my training, they told us somebody above certain age, by now he was about 65 or 70. When somebody that age has appendicitis, it could be due to a tumor. And here I am feeling a lump. So I told him, I say, Oga, I don't like what I'm feeling. I think you need operation. Mind you, I don't have a CAT scan. I don't have a colonoscopy. Nothing. It's just by clinical suspicion. In his eyes, he was very anemic. The pink in your eye, I peeled it over. I see it was very pale. So I know he's lost blood and he has appendicitis. In my brain, he has colon cancer, to prove it otherwise. So I called the city. One of my friends, we just finished the hospital operating in the city. So I called him. I said, hey, my uncle, I think he has colon cancer. I need to operate on. This was on a Friday. So as God will have it, my friend was on call on a Sunday. Said, have him come in on Sunday morning. We check his blood. If it's too low, we may give him some transfusion. And then you come, we do the surgery on Monday. That's exactly what happened. So I operated on this guy who was my mentor, took out his right colon. And while we were there, he had spread to his liver. Thank God it was just one spot. So I took it out at the same time and then paid for his chemotherapy. He took maybe 2 or 3 cycles. He had side effects. He stopped. But he lived 15 more years after that. That is the significant, So that really hit me. Say, hey, God sees all these things and it's not random. It happens. And then that's when I told him the story, how he's my mentor. Without him, how I look up to him and all these things. And after a year, he had Thanksgiving celebration at the church. I was very grateful, and the family is still grateful.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
That is unbelievable. It's giving me chills because once again, it's come full circle.
Full circle.
It has come full circle from the conversation you had with your dad, and it came full circle. And then with this gentleman that inspired you from a distance, and you grew up, went on, and then came back as practitioner and helped to, operate on him. That again, that's full circle. This is something that I see come up over and over, Doc. I just want to share this. Last week, I was in Houston. A friend who is a nurse anesthetist, he said to us, when his daughter was 9 years old, he asked her, what do you want to be? He said, I want to be an architect. And she finished high school last week. She was 9 years at that time, probably not even, maybe say elementary school. Last week, she was finishing high school, and she's going to be doing design architecture at Texas A&M University. She said, wow. And the guy said, I cannot even believe that this has happened to me. But he said, he asked her, do you know that this topic you're choosing, this professional area you're choosing is very, very difficult? Have you heard about it? She said, yes, I've heard about it. He said, do you know that's very challenging? Then she said, Daddy, I like challenging. So
wow. That's wonderful.
So what you're saying there is, it is very inspiring. And I think it goes to point to the work you're doing with respect to the mentorship, with respect to the work that you're doing in other countries, because you don't even know who you're touching there in other cultures, who may be inspired by you coming to work for free, almost like that gentleman was doing some of that to be paid for in kind, not in cash. And that is touching on encouraging people. That's really the purpose of this channel, to tell the story that no one is telling. So I love everything I'm hearing, but that was really the golden nugget that I'm taking away. So, Doc, before we wrap up, AMPA is turning 30. What are the major milestones or things that we should be expecting in the next couple of months as you celebrate 30 years of existence?
Well, first of all, yes, we did a bunch of stuff, and I will name them quickly. Let me just go quickly. Some of the firsts that we did just this past April in Lagos. Okay. Yeah. Yes. Like I said, this is the first time we combined the AMPA week, our usually medical mission, with the convention. This was the largest AMPA week in history. We had 130 volunteers from the US go.
Wow.
And the first time we also went with NATMA. Remember the Taiwanese Medical Association? We had 17 people go with us.
Wow.
Also, for the first time in AMPA history, we did the mission in 2 states, Lagos State and Oyo State. So, in fact, we were encouraged by former President Olusegun Obasanjo. He came to our convention in New York 2 years ago, and he challenged us. So we did it. And hopefully next year, we're going to do it in 2, maybe 3 states. So, and then what excites me is that we did not just cataract surgery, we did about 387 cataract surgery, but more importantly, 30 glaucoma surgery. Wow. Glaucoma is a very different animal. Not all ophthalmologists know how to do it.
Yes.
And we brought a world-renowned glaucoma expert, Dr. Leon Henlon from Duke University, came with us and taught 65 members of the Ophthalmology Society of Nigeria how to do this. So that is huge to me, capacity building. Then the other things we did, there's procedures called ERCP. They do ecography. ERCP. We did the first one at Luth, the teaching hospital, and FMC, and taught somebody there, the gastroenterologist, who is now doing it. This is something that wasn't available before.
Now they're taking and run with it.
Exactly. And it's great because, it makes a big difference in patient's life. Laparoscopy surgery, we thought, laparoscopic cholecystectomy, laparoscopic colectomy, among many things. We're doing free screening mammograms, 500 of them, still ongoing now. We started before we went. For women in Lagos right now. We even had a mental health and happiness workshop. Yeah. For the first time, we also had our chronic kidney disease day, our menstruation day, like I said. And then also something I'm excited about, I hope you can see, AMPA at 30.
Yes, I can see that.
We will publish a book, AMPA at 30, and we're going to launch it. We're going to launch it on June 28th of this year, which is in about maybe just 3 weeks or so, just
3 weeks, yeah.
And I'll share the link with you, or the invite, so you can share with your listeners and members.
Yes.
And hopefully people can come and we watch a documentary.
Would it be live? Would it be virtual? Or
virtual? It's a hybrid. We want to be together. Most of it will be, virtual. Okay. So you can join from anywhere in the world. That's the beauty. and it's open. So we'll watch a documentary about AMPA, and then we launch this book at the same time. One of our friends, one of our brothers from Nigeria, a Super Bowl winner,
champion,
he's helping us to launch it. His name is Troy Pelshak. He won Super Bowl in 1999 with the St. Louis Rams.
And
we're looking for other celebrities. We have some surprise celebrities that will come that day. You be in your home and the comfort of your home with your mocktail or cocktail, and we watch the movie and we talk about it and enjoy. So, and beyond that, there are so many more exciting things. I told you about the emergency care program we're doing. We have a virtual, every 2 weeks or so, we have a virtual program called ECHO, ECHO, which is Extended Community Health Outcome. Is on Zoom and with Nigerians, with everybody, where we also talking about all these emergency tips and emergency care, and then eventually we teach them BLS back home. So a lot of things are coming up.
Yeah, I can tell that 30 from the volume, the quality of activities that you're doing, it's definitely 30. It's not 14, it's not 18, it's not 19.
30-year-old is now finishing. It could be a doctor, could be practicing.
Could be practicing already. Maybe that's right. Wow. That's a lot. But Doc, so let's start wrapping up here. If let's say a young person walks up to you and says, Doc, please, I'm looking for something to hold on to. Do you have a favorite quote? Do you have a favorite biblical verse or something that I can always lean on when times get really, really difficult while I'm in residency or I'm going through life? Is there one that pops to your mind that you would like to share?
Well, yeah, one of my favorite quotes is, what we do for ourselves dies with us. What we do for others and the world remains and is immortal.
Wow.
That's my favorite quote.
That is deep. What we do for ourselves, but what we do for others is immortal.
It remains.
I'm gonna write that one down. I need that one. I'm probably gonna put that on my table somewhere so I can.
It's in my office. It's in my office. And guys, then another one I found, which I put in this book, in the AMPA book. At the forward, it says, the most satisfying work in life is helping others. The most powerful force in life is love. And the most beautiful attire is a smile.
Oh,
Author unknown.
Yep, I did credit that already at the start. Thank you. I love both, but that first one, I'm gonna stick it on my table and look forward to it every single morning as I'm going in and out of this small studio here. Doc, so what is the best book you recommend for anyone that is working hard in life and going through challenges, ups and downs, and everybody goes through that, but what's one that you recommend?
It's very simple. For me, I'm very spiritual. I read the Bible, even though the Bible interestingly has everything that affects our life. Even though it's in old times, you should look at it and it's the same struggle. Human beings are the same. It's just, and God is the same as far as I'm concerned. It's just our environment has changed a little, but we have the same challenge. So I get inspired by reading the Bible. I get inspired by listening to music, especially Bob Marley. I don't just listen to the sound, but also the words.
The lyrics, yes. He was a philosopher.
Yes. Exactly. So those are the things
that
exactly. So sometimes, yes, especially in medical school when it was so tough in the 80s, or in college in Texas in the 80s, you know what I mean? When there was apartheid, and all these things we used to demonstrate, free Nelson Mandela and all that stuff. We're young and energetic. Sometimes you come home, you're down. You think the whole world is against you. I just randomly open the Bible and I find an encouraging passage, or I listen to Bob and I get some encouraging words, So redemption song, for example.
That sounds like a song. Yep. He was, like I said, both a philosopher, a critic, and you could say whatever you want to say about him, but he was a brilliant mind.
That's
brilliant
right.
Because you could not conceive those kind of lyrics if you're not a brilliant person.
Exactly.
See across all spectrums of society. Now, what's your favorite? In case I don't know, you dabble into Afrobeat. Is there any one that touches your soul?
Oh yeah, Afrobeats. Oh yes, I love all the guys. Of course, Davido is one of them.
Yeah.
I like Thames.
Okay.
I like, what's my brother? I'm forgetting my brother's name. The Conqueror, the Emperor is here.
Oh, okay. That's Flavor.
Flavor.
Yeah.
And a lot of young Afrobeats is taking over. That's what I play in my theater in the operating room. It's either Afrobeats or reggae. and everybody knows. I come in the room, they put it on, and everybody's been bought over here.
There you go.
They always listen to Afrobeats and reggae. Our young people are doing great.
When I knew Afrobeats had gone really big when I was living in Singapore, I would hear Afrobeats in Singapore, in Asia. I will be flying on Emirates. It's on Emirates. That's when I knew that. Yes. And I'm talking about 2010, 2012. I'm not talking today. So if you can imagine that 2010, 11, 12, just imagine the power of that today. 2010, I cannot even believe it, but it has grown much, much bigger now. The last one is, what's your favorite African food? Now, I know that there's too much political issue about jollof, so I'm not going to even talk about jollof anymore.
Right? I will say jollof.
Say something.
You know fufu?
I know fufu, of course, but with what? With what?
Okay, I like fufu with either egusi or ogbono soup.
Okay.
With fish.
Oh, smoked fish.
Or stockfish.
Oh, stockfish.
Or the dry fish.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
That's you got me. And then I use my own fufu. I use oatmeal these days. The oats to make the dough.
Make the fufu, yeah.
Yes. And then, with a bunch of vegetables, then you got me.
No, thank you so much.
Which one is yours, though? What is yours?
Oh, man. You're catching me here now. I love jollof from Senegal. Believe me, I'm from Cameroon. I've grown up with Nigerian friends, but look like the one from Senegal, they know how to do it right. It's a little bit more crispy. So that's really? The one that I can eat it, I can sleep very well. And then there's another one, I don't know if you know it, it's achu. It's pounded cocoyam from Cameroon.
Okay.
They pound it so well, and then they eat it with yellow soup. The yellow soup is made with calcium carbonate and palm oil. It's so different. I know there will be some Cameroonian event someday somewhere, and if we're in the vicinity of where you are, we'll let you know, and you can go check it out, because everybody who touches it falls in love with it. It's a bit different, but it's also very, very, it's a force to be reckoned with.
Excellent. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for your time, Doc. I really appreciate you making the time and sharing with us this work that you're doing, more not longer about yourself, but also about really helping others and encouraging them and nurturing them. That is something that is priceless. And from all of us here at Story Warrior and all our friends and associates, I want to thank you for your dedication to our communities. Thank you so much.
Thank you. God bless.
Thank you.